What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're doing the show again, episode 4. Let's go. Thought I just heard a laugh. I don't know what that was, but anyway, welcome back.
Yeah.
Streit Talk. What are we, fourth show?
Fourth show in the
It's
making.
rolling.
And we want to give a little shout out real quick.
Got to address.
We're getting close to almost thousands of subscribers, not because of us, but because of fellow Podiacs.
Those sweet boys at the pod decided to give us some love.
We need you dudes inside of the Streit Talk, boy.
Yeah, some of you guys came over, and we appreciate you guys. You guys are in on the early train, so
Yep.
Give our boys a chance. Subscribe now. Tell everyone you know.
yeah, looking forward to you guys hopefully tuning in for the next few. We're going to get into some sports, some movies, some video games today. And we got a special guest. Ty, do you want to do a little announcement for him?
The first guest of all time on the show. This guy knows a little something more than we know about college football, and he just happens to be our dad. It's our dad.
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Great to be with you guys. First official guest. Come on.
Let's go. First one. Let's go.
Appreciate that.
We're going to dive into the depths of college football with this guy. It's a real show. So
Yeah, hey,
we're going to get into
it's
it.
kind of a show now. It's officially a show. It's just us talking.
Feels like a real one now.
You get to listen to this guy talk.
Don't sell yourself short. You know a ton of football, but I think the timing of this is great. With last weekend, you were out there with me traveling around out to Boulder and Gainesville, and some great upsets and finishes, and then this week's slate of games. So many ranked versus ranked. It's just it's a good time to kind of step back after 3 or 4 weeks of the season and kind of see where we are.
Yeah, this is
Absolutely.
where we get into your little groove, where you get to a feel of what the teams are like actually after a few weeks of getting to understand them. And now this is where we go with the picks and all that good stuff. Some big ranked teams next week. So we talked about Colorado for a little bit. You guys, did you stay up for that?
Yeah,
Dad?
I did.
Yeah, we pulled in, and there was like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and me and Dad were watching the end of the game. Mom was asleep, and we were trying not to cheer too loud, but we were like, oh my gosh, because they just kept coming back, and it was just fairy tale ending. You knew it was gonna happen.
You just feel it.
Yeah.
It was, I think they
Yeah, what was the deficit in the fourth? I know it was like crazy comeback.
It was 28-14, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as soon as we turned it on, there was maybe eight or 9 minutes to go, and Shador just was like boom, 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 touchdown.
Yep.
And you were like, I think they were down like 28-13. It seems like they were down by. They needed a touchdown, 2 touchdowns, an extra point, and then a 2-pointer. So, yeah, I think it was 28-13, and they just came right down, made the plays they needed to make.
Mind you, all without Travis Hunter because he got injured early on, didn't he?
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. Lacerated liver.
I saw
3 weeks as of this
3
recording.
weeks. Yep. Yeah, he's out for 3 weeks. So that's Oregon and USC they play in that span.
Yeah.
So that's tough. That's tough for Colorado.
Next week's Oregon.
Yep.
They've been getting all the hype. CSU kept it close. We're gonna say that's a rivalry. It's a fluke. That's why it was tight. But Oregon's gonna really set the tone and figure out what this team's really like. So I'm excited for
they'll
that.
test them. Speaking of Colorado, I mean, game day was incredible this past weekend. We had Corso's 400th pick, and then we had Dion, who's the coach. Like, he could be a celebrity picker on his own. And then The Rock hops on stage as well. So how did that feel being up there with two superstars?
I've been doing this for so long. You're kind of used to having some big name people up there, but I think it started with Lee Corso's 400 headgear and all the emotions that came with that. We did a really cool feature. He got real emotional. Ty, you were there and saw that. And then we had Coach Prime on. He had no idea that Rock was going to come up on the desk in the middle of the interview, and he was genuinely shocked, and that was kind of cool. And then at the end, we had Rock on like 3 or 4 segments. Generally, we just have a celebrity picker they come off the bus and they just do the picks at the end. But Rock, because he loves football so much, he wanted to be in on a lot of the conversation. So we had him like on 3 or 4 different segments. And then the last segment was amazing with Rock and Coach and Pat just kind of doing their thing and making picks. It was a blast. It was and the setting and the backdrop, the foothills of the Rockies,
Beautiful.
the whole thing was just couldn't have been any better. It was one of my more memorable shows in 28 years that I've been a part of. It was cool.
I'm so bummed.
Definitely like a top 5 game day. I mean, that was electric.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah.
Just with what's going on in Colorado and then having the Rock there too. And then I just happened to walk past and like Offset just passed me like he's just a fan there. Like those guys are pulling out people to they had Lil Wayne rapping before the game. There's a lot of hype around it, and it's cool to see the hype train keep
That
going.
whole story is kind of taken not just college football, but really the sports world by storm. You know, Coach Prime has such an engaging and entertaining personality that, you know, when he beat TCU, it kind of was like, whoa. And then, you know, it started to create a lot of buzz. And then they're not shy to hide their confidence. So that creates a lot of buzz. And then it's like they're a very polarizing team. You're either 100% behind them and you love everything about what they're doing, or you're 100% against them and you're pulling for them to lose. It's like there's no in between. And so that's why, you know, they've become this story. And you mentioned, Jake, they're going to Oregon, and then they have USC. I think this week they're already a 20-point dog.
That's crazy.
I think it'll be tough for them to win at Oregon. And then the next week with Caleb Williams against Shador, no matter what they do in Oregon, that's going to be the epicenter of college football that week. Those two quarterbacks going head to head. I think they got a better chance to win against USC in like a shootout, like a 45-40
No defenses.
kind of game, because that's the defense.
No defenses in that.
Better than Oregon? Better shot than Oregon?
Shador against Caleb the next week, I'm telling you, it's going to be which guy has the ball last. It could be a lot like that Colorado State game. But I think this week the bubble will burst a bit because maybe they'll beat Oregon. Who knows the way they're going. But I'd be super shocked if they went on the road and beat Bo Nix and the Ducks. That's a tough ask.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely tough. And then we went to Tennessee, Florida in Gainesville. Kind of an interesting game where Florida was an underdog coming in, and then they just kind of took over with
Ty, what do you think of the swamp? What do you think of that scene? Because you never really seen that.
Yeah, that was my first time there. I'd only seen it in NCAA, just playing there in the video game. But it was a cool atmosphere. Fans get pumped. SEC fans are nuts. They love it. So
remember the guy flipped me off and told me.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but he said
it happens every week, so you can bring it up.
I almost like actually swung on this guy who just like disrespected the heck out of Dad, and I was like,
yeah,
I was so surprised that someone would even do that, and then he did it to D right behind him. So
those 1%ers, man.
If he did it to me, it would have been. Like his buddies kind of pulled him back, so I wasn't within arm's reach, but it was a close call.
Yeah.
I got fired up. Like
for people who have no idea who Kinley is, he's like the security guy that helps me out.
Dresses very nice, by the
way. We had to go through the fans to get to the elevator suite. Went through a very skinny aisle, so the fans and 99%, like you said, Jake, were awesome. Tennessee fans, Florida fans, high-fiving people. There's just one drunk Tennessee fan who's, you know, F you kind of thing, right in my face.
Like middle finger, like in his face.
No.
Just like.
Luckily, we were moving, because if I would have been standing still and he stepped in my space like that and Kinley was ahead of me.
Yeah, would have been raps. Would have been raps for the guy.
It would have been.
You should have gone for the Cincinnati headbutt, Dad. You see that guy?
Close to
bang.
It happened so quick. Yeah. I just had it all happen in front of me. D didn't even realize it happened, which is crazy. I was like, he was up in your face.
Chaos. all
Yeah, there was a
out.
lot of chaos. A lot of chaos.
We were just
but-
trying to move. It's not a reflection on Tennessee or Florida fans. It
No,
just
no.
happened one drunk
Yeah.
idiot that was overserved. But all in all, it was a great trip.
Yeah, great atmosphere.
Great to see the Swamp hopping like that. Great to see Florida get a big win. It's been a while since they've had, a lot of excitement about their program. So hopefully this will springboard them into some more great moments. And for Tennessee, man, they're kind of back to the drawing board. I'm concerned about Tennessee, the quarterback situation compared to where they were a year ago with Hendon Hooker, the receivers where they had Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman. Brew McCoy's good, but man, they just don't seem to have the same speed or weapons they had a year ago. So they gotta regroup. Alabama's trying to regroup right now.
I wanted to talk about them as well.
A lot of
There's a lot
powers.
of stories in the SEC
Yeah.
right now.
A lot of the powers trying to rebuild.
Milroe just got
At the
named.
quarterback position.
Milroe just got named starter after.
Yeah, I saw that.
Like
They got to go back to him after they gave the
Ty Simpson,
the other two.
the two
Simpson
Tylers.
and
Buckner.
Buckner, he didn't. Neither one
Yeah.
took it. They gave him a
They did.
chance.
They play Ole Miss next week. It's going to be a battle. That was one of the teams that I wanted to talk about that had. I don't know if these teams are all looking ahead to the next week because they got such big games. I was going to say Florida State, Alabama. We mentioned Colorado, and Ohio State has Notre Dame next week. FSU has
It's
Clemson
this
next
week.
week.
I mean, I know we're taping right.
Yeah,
but
this
it's
week,
really-
this week.
You got Florida State,
Yeah.
Clemson, Colorado, Oregon, like you're saying. Think of this: you got UCLA and
Yes.
Utah. You got Ole Miss and Alabama. I mean, it just goes on and on. Ohio State, Notre Dame. My favorite game maybe this weekend. No one will be talking about the two teams that basically got kicked to the curb in the Pac-12: Oregon State and Washington State. Both are ranked.
That's a
No
great
one's going to
game.
know that game's being played. And
Oregon State's ranked for sure.
Yeah, we can take a little look at the AP top 25 right here. Washington State's number 21.
21.
Yep.
And Oregon State 14.
Yeah, they're in there. They're in there.
Wow.
14
That's
and
gonna be a fun
21.
game.
Sneaky. That's a sneaky 14 right there.
That's a sneaky game. Again, those two teams,
Yep.
everybody left for the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the ACC. The only two that didn't have anywhere to go are two teams that are ranked in the top 21 right now. So
Pac-12 is balling out. Pac-12 is balling out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pac-12 's
it's
fun
crazy.
to watch right now.
They probably have the most ranked teams right now. I don't want to just throw that out there, but it seems like
it's
it.
like I think it's 8 or 9.
It's wild.
I'm not sure how many exactly it is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
ACC wise, I know we mentioned Florida State earlier. They play Clemson this weekend.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting. Clemson's unranked currently. Florida State's all the way up at number 4. They kind of struggled this past weekend. But they're only like 1.5 point favorites in this game.
That's wild.
And I don't know if that's ever been the case where a number 4 team plays an unranked team and is only favored by like just over 1 point, which is that's crazy to see.
I think it's a couple things. I think Clemson's still working their way back after that setback week 1 to Duke. We all know they're a ranked team, right? But it's almost like you get penalized.
Yeah,
Backs against the wall. Yeah, I could see
Yeah,
that.
and the second thing is it's a tip of the cap to the home field advantage of Death Valley. I mean, if that were a night game, I think Clemson might be favored. But the fact it's a noon kick, as you know, you guys both have been there and been on that roster. It's a little bit different at noon compared to at night when everybody's had a chance to be tailgating all day and create so much energy. Noon running down that hill. I mean, it's still great.
Definitely different.
Not what it would normally be. I personally think Florida State's real. I think they'll go in there and win. I know you guys probably don't like
No,
that
I
or-
agree.
No, I like
agree.
Florida State. I like their quarterback. a
You
lot.
cut a big promo on game
I
day
think
for them.
Their whole team is legit. And I think they're a mad football team because they've been kicked around the last few years. And I love angry football teams. I think they're dangerous. And Florida State kind of messed around with Boston College last week. Maybe peeking ahead. Maybe BC's better than we realized. I don't know, but it was a closer game than we thought. But now it's showdown time. If you're gonna try to get a run and win the ACC, you got to beat Clemson. So we'll see if they can do it this week.
That's right.
Then what other games do we have? We got
Well, the Ohio State Notre Dame game is probably
yeah,
that's
game
what
day.
game day's going this week. I mean, as you guys know, Sam Hartman comes over from Wake. I feel
Yep.
like Notre Dame has a different juice about him with him there. Ohio State's, quarterback Kyle McCord seemed to settle in finally
Yeah.
after, a lot of the fans got upset with him the first couple of weeks. He looked confident, hit Marvin Harrison, had a big day. So the timing could not be any better. I think that was all part of Ryan Day's plan, is to kind of get through those first three and have kind of everything in line by the time they went to South Bend. So both quarterbacks, I think, obviously, like every week, they'll contribute to whichever team ends up winning this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ohio State finally did what they're supposed to do to those teams like Western Kentucky. So I'm super pumped to see what they do against a real ranked opponent. It's gonna be a fun
Definitely
watch.
boosts the confidence too.
What do you guys think of McCord and the Ohio State offense? C.J. Stroud was there for 2 years. Justin Fields before
Yeah.
that. I mean,
I feel like you just got to be a guy like Brock Purdy and just get the ball to the weapons.
To the
That's-
weapons.
yeah.
They have so many
Kyle
weapons.
McCord just needs
mean-
to be smart with the ball and get it to
And they can run that thing too.
just hand it to
Yeah.
Travion Henderson and throw it out deep to those. He got so many weapons. Mbuka and Harrison Jr. They're loaded on offense.
Definitely big shoes to fill, but I think he's settling in. So
And
that's good to see.
we talked about their depth at running back as well. They just they run guys.
I think dealing with the atmosphere will be the whole key to the game, because you got a quarterback that's never played in that environment. He's not going to be able to hear himself. The lineman won't be able to hear the cadence. I just wonder those big third down plays, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8. How did the line? This line did not look good. Everyone pointed to quarterback. This line did not look good week 1 and 2. So how does that line do on the road for the first time in a night game in South Bend? So
Yeah.
that'll be a big key to
Ty,
me.
did-
Speaking from experience on that, I think it'll be a great atmosphere in South Bend. Like, it'll definitely play to Notre Dame's advantage, and we'll see how it plays out.
All right, Dad.
I think that's going to do it. Thanks for joining us, and we really appreciate taking time out of your day to talk some ball with us. Appreciate it.
Anytime,
Love you,
boys.
kid.
Appreciate
Love
it.
you,
And good
kid.
luck with this. Love watching you guys. Keep doing your thing.
All right, love you. Take it easy.
Yes, sir.
See ya.
See you soon. Whoa, that was epic.
Wow, that was crazy promo, dude. That was like, all right. We got over with the football. Now we're gonna roll into the movies. Everything. I know. I'm Siskel. I know you guys are pumped about it. We're gonna get into it.
Yep. Hey, let's dive in, huh?
For those who don't know, if you just somehow are one of the 12 subscribers that were here before and don't know that I'm Siskel, I was dubbed Siskel, who is it's the name of the guy who I guess was a critic on live TV, and he had a little show. And the boys at the pod, the guys who shouted us out at the beginning, we mentioned them. They dubbed me that because of my love for movies.
Jake tends to be a little nitpicky when it comes to movies, so
Yeah. Well, you're gonna.
named rightly so.
Yeah. Why would I say everything's good if that's not true?
I don't know. I'm not saying that.
All right.
All right, movies we've seen recently. What do we want to talk about first here?
I was listening to that awesome intro. Sorry. What's up?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, me and Jake did not watch any movies together this past week, so
Yeah. It's gonna be
we're gonna
a
have a few
little grab
few
bag
ones
today.
that we know nothing about. Yeah,
Little grab bag. You don't know what you're gonna get. I stuck to the in theaters. I think Ty probably threw something on the old TV. So, all right, you go ahead, Ty. What do you got?
all right, we're gonna start with Heat. It's my first 5 out of 5
What?
on the list.
Dang.
The first 5 out of 5. I'm pumped about it.
I've wanted to throw on Heat, but I think it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes or something. And I just never could get myself to sit down and do it. So I'm glad you
Hey,
did.
She's
Glad
been
you
sitting
did.
on the list for a while for me too, and it's worth the watch. A heist gone wrong leads to a high-stakes game of cat and mouse between a criminal mastermind and a hard-boiled detective obsessed with catching him.
What'd you think, Ty? What'd you think of Heat?
All right, let me just say, star-studded cast. It has Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Val Kilmer, Ashley Judd, and Natalie Portman is like a young buck. obviously Padme from Star Wars, but we see her in this
She's
one.
in another good one I've seen.
If you watch it, you're going to recognize a lot of people. All right, so this one's directed by Michael Mann, who also directed Thief, which is a movie I've seen recently. It has James Caan. And I saw a lot of similarities between these two movies. I didn't even know who directed it while I was watching it. I was like guessing Scorsese. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. It has the same kind of like two bad guys and then they come together at the end. And it was cool to see the mutual respect that De Niro and Al Pacino had. They're the two main characters.
Would you say it's similar to The Departed?
I've seen bits and pieces of The Departed. I haven't watched it all the way through.
No. Gotta watch that one. Departed's a great movie.
I started it.
I'll already give it
I'll
give it a 4.7 out of 5. Okay. All right, go ahead.
There's a lot of mutual respect between De Niro and Al Pacino's characters, which is really cool to see, like the good guy, bad guy dynamic. And then De Niro's kind of like has a ton of cash and he's kind of living more like a king. And then Al Pacino's character has like a struggling home life. So it's like good guy, bad guy. But then like Al Pacino is also like a bad guy, but he's really good at his job. It's cool how they get self-aware and they like realize that they're being like respectful of each other. And he's like, hey, this guy's pretty good. Like this guy's got it down. Like Al Pacino's guy is saying that about De Niro.
Okay.
And then they have a cool like scene where they're eating dinner with each other and they're like enemies, but he can't arrest him because he has nothing on him.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was Godfather-ish.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it has Al Pacino, but like it's such a great movie, and I love to see like the mutual respect from a good guy, bad guy. It was kind of like a classic Joker, Batman, where like they like need each other to like to live, basically.
When you describe that scene, it I love when like social norms get like, I don't know, they get played out in like a setting where like you're in a restaurant. So restaurant, you got to be polite. So even though you guys are enemies, you're eating like food together. There's like a respect involved, and that kind of stuff's always in those Scorsese kind of movies. But I know this guy's different, but I'm sure he's got inspiration from that. But he's probably before Scorsese, wasn't he?
He was 1995, so he's kind of the same time.
Same kind of vibe. I just love that. Like it reminds me of like a like the respect in the battle, like with a katana, with if you're like in ancient Japan with the those samurais, the samurai, like all the things. I don't know. It's like a
there's no cheap shots. Like it's all just like
everything's about honor and
like
stuff.
I'm a man. Yeah, it's honor, respect. Just like De Niro's playing himself, Al Pacino's playing himself. It's cool to see those kind of movies.
I'll have to check that one out.
Especially the guys in their primes. Like De Niro's pretty young in this one.
That's cool.
So it was cool. He's like Godfather 2, like Godfather Part 2 kind of young.
Oh wow.
In this one.
Okay. Nice.
And the score is awesome in it. And I just had to give it a 5 because I haven't watched a movie that good in a while, and I had to put it up there.
Yeah, it gets a lot of hype, and I'm glad it lives up to it for you. I'm gonna have to watch it then.
There's this fight scene in The Heat where that's just guns ablazing in the middle of the streets. Like it's one of those scenes where you're like, how did they shoot this? Because I like watching The Fabelmans. You said like they do like the cool shot effects. There's like bullet holes going into the sides of cars, and like
I love that shit.
It's just like mayhem out in the streets. And Val Kilmer's characters like just like unloading clips. Like it's so cool.
Dude, do you remember in Dunkirk? My brain just took me there when you're talking about bullet holes when they're hiding in the bottom of that boat and the bullet holes come in.
Oh,
and then the ray tracing light just comes in like. That was an awesome scene. But yeah, go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, it's some good cinematography.
Yeah, I just think about that.
And then with Michael Mann's filming style, just like in The Thief, it's more of like a dark, like it's like a blue kind of color like across the whole movie, except for like the daytime scenes.
I like that,
which is kind of cool, like stylistic. It's a nice little touch like in his movies. And the final boss scene, like the boss battle per se, was like on a flight runway, and it was it was really cool with all the lights in the back. I really enjoyed that movie, and I just wanted to mention that as well.
All right, I got one for you. We went to the movie house, and that's what we call movie theater. If you've never heard that before, I think some people are like, why the hell are you calling it that? That's what it's called. That's what our dad calls it. That's what our mom called it. That's what we roll with. So went to the movie house, saw A Haunting in Venice. It is a sequel to The Death on the Nile. It's like a whodunit series. Now retired and living in a self-imposed exile in the world's most glamorous city, Perot reluctantly attends a seance at a decaying haunted palazzo. He soon gets thrust into a sinister world of shadows and secrets when one of the guests is murdered. This one is directed by Kenneth Branagh. So The Death on the Nile and this one are both Agatha Christie books, which I'd never heard of, but I had to deep dive a little bit about it to kind of understand. I didn't understand why we were making half-baked fucking whodunits, so I knew there was some kind of root to it, and that's what it was. So it was like Agatha Christie. She makes like Sherlock Holmes type like books, but her person is from Britain, and his name's Herschel Poirot, and he has this sick looking mustache. That's the only cool part of the movie, in my opinion. And he gets kind of thrust into this, like they said in the thing. I'm using the same verb, but it's like a Walmart Knives Out, pretty much. It's like, I love whodunits, so I was excited. Like anything mystery wise, like I'm in there, and I was really looking forward to it. And this one just didn't live up to expectations. It was pretty basic stuff. Could sniff out the killer pretty easily. It wasn't like
that's always fun to do, huh?
Yeah, I know. But like
trying to figure out who the killer is,
yeah,
but then you're like,
there's like such
it's definitely that guy, and then it's Yahtzee.
Yeah, there's such a fine balance of giving enough people screen time so you don't give away the killer, but you want the shock value to be big enough where like, oh, I swear that I thought that person was like super cool. And then, but like, yeah, this one, I don't know. It was pretty bad. Death on the Nile and that are like about the same. This Agatha Christie girl, the author, she wrote And Then There Were None, which we read when we were growing up. And it doesn't include this Sherlock Holmes figure that she has. So I think those guys, if they're going to keep adapting her work, I think they should go with that standalone film, And Then There Were None. I'm sure there is a movie out there, but
that would be cool.
But I would love to see like a new generation version of that. If you don't know what that is, I'd suggest looking it up. It's basically 12 people go to an island mysteriously, and then there were none. So it's kind of self-explanatory. Last night I went and saw The Nun 2, and we went to a drive-in movie theater, which is pretty awesome.
Ooh.
There's only one
awesome.
Pretty close to me, and it was a good time. Friendly folks there, even though they didn't look it, who work there. But you know, we found out that there's an FM channel, and you can hook up your speaker in your car to match the audio on the screen. And I cranked up the boost or the bass boost, and then we got it real nice and crispy in there. Brought our own snacks. I think I was more just mesmerized with the atmosphere I was in than the movie. It was a pretty basic Conjuring movie. I love The Conjuring 1 and 2. Ever since then, it's kind of felt like a cash grab since then. They do those typical scares, but there's one thing that I'd like to say about it, that they do a good job in all these. Like whenever they're trying to set up a location, they do a good job doing a one take like camera that's on a dolly, and it like goes through the areas that you're gonna revisit later, and like have those horror scenes in, and they do a good job setting those up. Like I love that kind of stuff when they reuse shots from like earlier in the movie, so you kind of know in your head where you're at, and it's not just like a hidden mess. There's a hilarious scene that wasn't supposed to be funny in The Nun, when this guy sees the nun and he gets whacked pretty heavily, like pretty aggressively, and like it's one of those ones where they get like taken up and like start floating, and then he got dropped, and then he's got his neck snapped, and it was like so loud that they were able to transition it to the next scene of somebody turning on a motor.
I like
Like a
those sound
crank
on
motor.
sound
It was like
cuts,
a
the
it
match
was like a
cuts.
sound transition.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so this
Yeah.
guy went from he's
Dang.
like and then his like to a fucking
Oh,
motor, and I was like, oh my god, like the fact that
dang,
like
bro.
the violence is loud enough to like transition that way was a funny thing. I liked that part. Very dark movie. The projector screen was not like strong enough for this movie. I feel like so I had a hard time in those like dark scenes. Like if it could have been a lot scarier, I bet.
I didn't know they did new releases out there for drive-ins.
Yeah,
That's kind of
yeah.
cool.
The Equalizer 3 was on the other TV, so it was either that or that one.
Okay.
So it was cool.
All right. Ahsoka. Once again, this was the big episode for them. What'd you think, Jake?
I thought that they were playing a lot of fan service, and like if you there's a lot of prerequisites to this series in general to be able to enjoy it fully. Like you have to watch the Rebels and the Clone Wars, and then you can watch it
And the prequels,
and the prequels. So yeah, it's
which are fun to watch. But the TV shows are harder to watch because it's so many episodes.
yeah, it just feels it feels like they're trying to do what Marvel did a long time ago, and they missed the wave. And Zach's gonna hate me for our brother Zach is gonna hate me for like clowning this show, but like I could care less about this show, honestly.
Like we were young bucks. Like I dressed up as Anakin for Halloween. Like we are Star Wars fans. I'm an Anakin fan.
Yeah, you
And
were repping his look when he wore the like mini ponytail in the back, like the
yeah, I
buzz
don't
cut
think I rocked
vibe.
the ponytail, but I had the vest on. I could pop a little picture up.
Yeah, I'd forget
then
what was
you were
I?
Darth
I was
Vader.
Darth Vader. All right, yeah, that's
Yeah. So we
we did a
we've
good
been
job.
on this Darth Vader Anakin grind for a while, and it worked for me partly. Like I kind of felt like I was like a little dude again watching this episode. Like that was cool. Just like Anakin talking to Ahsoka, I was like, that's cool because we haven't seen it in live action. You see that in the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
and then
Ugh.
you gotta see some of the bright parts out here. I know it's like
No, I want
not
to
the
clown it
best,
more.
but,
I want to
like,
clown it more. Remember when the little kid was just looking out at the ocean, and then he was like, "You hear that? The lightsabers, mom." And then
oh my
that
gosh.
was like, and then why did they like leave them there? I definitely thought that was gonna be a plot point where he was gonna somehow like fall in and like find her, but they didn't do that.
Be like, what are you doing here, dude? Hey, one good thing.
No,
Let me say
no.
one good thing that came out of the episode. All right, bro got humbled. Ahsoka actually smiled at the end, and she was like, "I'm happy to like live life," because she was like this old man, like
Yeah,
kind of cranky throughout the whole.
old man.
I know it's like
Yeah,
a character arc.
she was acting like an
Yeah,
old man.
I mean she's like a stoic old man who's out on life,
Yeah,
and then Anakin kind of flipped her over to like appreciate life a little bit, and it's a character arc, but like to start the show, like you want it to be cool, like you don't want the first episodes to be like it's that's the tough thing with a TV show and a movie. Like you have to build the arc over multiple episodes. It's not like a movie, like just like 2 hours
that can be the beauty of it too. It's just
where
called
you
a
can
lazy
kinda build the
writing.
arc. Yeah, that is also, but with tough acting and all that stuff, it makes it harder to like want to watch the next episode the next week because it only drops once a week. It's not like Breaking Bad where you can just like binge it.
Yeah, it used to not be the case,
Okay.
but I'm definitely glad it's the thing.
I think it saved the show in my opinion. Like it was a lot better than like Ahsoka just talking to Sabine the whole episode and then like
Yeah, I guess.
like-
I guess.
pausing and all that stuff. Like we actually got like a decent episode out of this.
One good thing, Zach and I were hyping up Anakin being in his like gear from the Clone Wars. Like that was a sweet uni. Like I'm glad that
Yeah,
he
it
had a
was a sick
showcase.
unit. And he had the hair like all tricked up.
But
like
just
it
because
was
he looks cool
from the
doesn't
show.
mean it was a good episode. It wasn't that great.
There's a point where fan service is good, but then it's also like you can't have it be the building blocks of your show. Like you have to have like a good show and then you like get some fan service in there too. Like that's That's when you make a great show. All right, we're talking about games now.
Whoa, I love games. Okay, Ty, what do we got?
I have a Nintendo Switch. Colby, the guy who smells, who stinks, who we talked about earlier in the last episode, we downloaded Nintendo Switch Sports. What a time. You got the classic golf on there, and you got tennis on there. It has multiple different sports. It's got bowling on there, but you can play up to 4 people. It's a great time. I highly recommend it. Really easy to pick up on and play with the boys. Might even crack open a few cold ones while you're playing as well.
Yeah, bro. That sounds like a
We were
vibe.
talking about as a group. We were talking about possibly hitting the golf course, playing 9, and then coming back and playing another 9 here, and like keeping track of the score like out there, and then in the game. So it'd be a little 18 holes, but it'd be have its on the Switch,
That could be
which
cool.
would be fun.
That could be
I think
cool.
that might be a good time.
Little Olympics competition kind of vibe where you kind of do
Yeah.
different. That's funny. I like to see. Let me know if you end up doing that.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes if we do that.
Were you talking about golf there? Because we were wanting to play that VR golf, and didn't get it
Oh, yeah.
didn't get it done. But we do have headsets. If you guys
The
want to,
VR.
you guys want to
Meta.
see a little behind the scenes there, we could get involved. But yeah, I'm undefeated.
It's a putt-putt game.
Yeah, I'm
in
undefeated
golf.
in
It's
putt-putt,
fun.
and Ty's got to figure
What?
his shit out. So, yeah.
I don't know about that, dude. It's been like years.
Yeah, but I'm still undefeated. I remember that
No, you
I was
aren't.
never
No way.
I was never
There's no
uncrowned.
way.
So,
I was gonna talk about the Bodycam game.
okay. Yeah.
That's hyper realistic. It's a new video game coming out. It has 2 French developers who made the game, and when it first came out, people thought it was like a real life like live leak situation where like the faces are blurred out in it, but it looks so real that like people mistaked it for like actual footage, and then the guy was like glitching through the walls and stuff to show the fact that it's a video game, and it's so real. And I think they'll end up doing like a 3v3 death match. I think that's what there's a new trailer that dropped for it. It's a first person shooter, and it's on Unreal Engine now, so it looks really real, and it might be like a step towards the future of gaming where it's indistinguishable from real life, which is cool to see.
I think those Unreal Engine guys keep showing off their new AI that helps generate like landscape and stuff, and I bet they utilize
yeah.
that feature, that kind of stuff. It's like super photorealistic. That's like the new thing.
Yep.
So we'll see how far that goes. I think sometimes what makes a video game fun is it being a little more obvious that they're not trying to like go crazy with the realism. But if they can pull it off and it looks like seamless, I'd be down to play that for sure. So that's cool. That game should be on VR.
If they
should do that.
transition to VR, that would be nuts.
Did you see that Half-Life game that came out a while back? That was like, forget the name of it, but it's a Half-Life game that they offered on.
Oh yeah, I think PewDiePie.
Yeah,
played
he
it.
played that. I watched PewDiePie's playthrough. Shout out PewDiePie. He's like the king of YouTube, if you don't know.
PewDiePie's the goat. He's the goat.
Yeah, he played that game, and I remember him having some kind of special gloves, and that game looked really sweet. Even though it wasn't like crazy realistic, it did actually look really realistic.
Modern Warfare 3 Zombies gameplay got released, and there's 2 different maps. One of them's Chicago, which is awesome, and then one of them's Los Alamos, which is in Mexico, which is 2 like real locations you can choose between the
These
two
are zombie
in the menu.
locations?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we talk about the normal multiplayer maps that they mentioned? Because I know like High Rise is back, and like all the OG
old Modern Warfare 2 games.
It might be Modern
All the
Warfare
mo-
3.
All the yeah,
All the
well, so
OG
a lot
Modern
of
Warfare.
Modern Warfare 2, like Favela, and maps like that.
Okay.
That one with like the desert, and it has like the plane crashed in the middle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all
think
remakes. It's all remakes. I don't know if there's any original ones yet that I've seen. I've just seen the
We'll
remakes.
see. I mean, hopefully there is. That would kind of stink.
Yeah, but they're so old that I haven't played a few of those, so I'm looking forward to it regardless.
But the zombies looks pretty cool. and just the game in general. There's slide canceling coming back, which is exciting for movement.
Movement looked good. Movement looked good. Mantling looked pretty smooth. Like that's one thing that like turns me off from a game really quickly if the mantling on objects is really shit. These gameplay trailers I've seen, like they've like jumped up on like I don't know, different surfaces and it like they like got their gun up pretty quick. So I feel like there's some aggressive plays to be made and I'm looking forward to
Hey,
that.
if there is, then we'll be all over it when it comes out. So
Yeah, I'm excited for that high rise map. That's like the OG trick shotting off the building map. It's gonna be cool.
I'm sure we'll get our hands on the beta pretty soon, and we'll keep you guys updated with what we see there.
We're just finishing up our gaming segment. I don't think we have anything else to talk about. We are looking forward to the Call of Duty that'll be dropping soon. Is it gonna drop soon? October, I think. Let's fucking go.
It's coming up.
We haven't been we've been like head down, haven't been looking at the news about that very much.
Been
So
trying
that's
to
exciting.
pay attention, but
Thanks for watching, and we appreciate you guys sticking to the end if you did. And Ty, anything you want to say to the people, the Podiac?
yeah, maybe hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you guys want to get some more
Whoa,
this
calm
trash
down.
show. We appreciate it.
Smash it!
Thank you guys for stopping by. We really appreciate it. GG.
GG's.
GG.
Shout out Streit Talk.